The Australian Grand Prix of 2026 didn't just produce a winner. It exposed a crucial flaw in Formula One's revolutionary new power unit era. While George Russell celebrated a dominant Mercedes victory, the real shock unfolded before the race even began. In front of a packed home crowd at Albert Park, local hero Oscar Piastri crashed on the reconnaissance lap after receiving an unexpected 100 kilowatt surge from the hybrid battery system, a power spike equal to roughly 13% of the car's total output under the new 2026 regulations. That single moment didn't just erase Australia's biggest hope of a podium. It revealed a hidden technical reality. These new hybrid systems can deliver power so aggressively that even elite drivers are struggling to control them. And what happened next in the race may have confirmed an even bigger fear spreading through the paddock. Coming into Melbourne, the spotlight was firmly on Oscar Piastri. The Australian had been outperforming reigning champion Lando Norris all weekend, consistently matching the pace of the front runners and positioning himself for what could have been his first podium on home soil. But the dream collapsed before the race even started. As Piastri downshifted over the curb at turn 4 during the reconnaissance lap, the hybrid system suddenly delivered an extra 100 kilowatt burst of electrical power, triggering instant wheel spin on cold tires and sending the McLaren spinning backwards into the barriers. The crash meant the race began without a single Australian driver on the grid for the first time since 2001, a staggering statistic for one of the sport's most passionate fan bases. But the real concern inside the paddock wasn't the crash itself. It was why it happened. And if that system can catch out a driver like Piastri before the race even begins, what does that mean for the rest of the season? Before we move on, make sure to smash that like button and hit subscribe so you never miss out on any of our latest videos. To understand why the Australian Grand Prix became such a turning point, we need to look at the technical transformation behind the 2026 Formula One cars. For the first time in modern F1 history, a hybrid system now produces nearly half of the car's total power output. The internal combustion engine provides roughly 400 kilowatts, while the electrical system delivers around 350 kilowatts through the MG/UK battery deployment. That means the moment electrical energy is released, the car receives a huge instantaneous torque spike, far sharper than what drivers experienced under the previous hybrid era. And this is exactly what caught out Oscar Piastri. When Piastri downshifted over the curb at turn 4, three destabilizing factors aligned simultaneously: cold tires, reduced grip from the curb surface, and a sudden 100 kilowatt electrical deployment surge. That surge pushed torque to the rear wheels faster than the traction control algorithms could compensate. The result? Instant wheel spin and a crash before the race had even begun. But what makes this incident even more fascinating is that it wasn't isolated. Earlier in the weekend, Mercedes driver Andrea Kimi Antonelli had already lost control during practice after accelerating over curbs at turn 1. The similarity between the incidents suggests that the new hybrid torque delivery may be fundamentally destabilizing the cars when the battery deploys aggressively at low grip moments. Yet, while McLaren struggled to manage that system, one team seemed to have already mastered it: Mercedes. And the evidence became obvious almost immediately after the race started. Look at the opening laps. Despite losing the lead to Charles Leclerc at the start, George Russell reclaimed it within 2 laps. That tells us something crucial about the Mercedes package: their energy deployment and traction out of slow corners were significantly stronger than Ferrari's. Telemetry comparisons from the opening stints suggested the Mercedes gained roughly 2 to 3 tenths per lap on corner exit acceleration, particularly through turn 3 and the exit of turn 14, the key traction zones leading onto Melbourne's longest straights. This advantage wasn't just about aerodynamics. It was about how Mercedes managed battery energy deployment. And this is where the controversy begins. Several teams inside the paddock, including figures from Ferrari, quietly raised concerns that Mercedes may have been exploiting a compression ratio interpretation within the engine regulations. According to comments from Lewis Hamilton, the Mercedes power unit could potentially be operating with a more aggressive combustion compression setting, extracting extra efficiency and therefore generating additional electrical energy recovery. If true, that would create a massive advantage. Why? Because the more efficiently the combustion engine operates, the more excess energy can be harvested and stored in the battery. And in the 2026 regulations, battery deployment equals straight-line speed. The race data backs that up. Russell and Antonelli were able to run 46 lap stints on the hard tire while maintaining competitive lap times in the low 1:22 range. Meanwhile, Ferrari's supposedly fresher tires only delivered minimal lap time gains, often less than 2 tenths per lap. That tire performance is incredibly significant because Ferrari's entire race strategy depended on tire advantage. When the virtual safety car was triggered after Isaac Hadjar retired with engine failure, most teams rushed into the pits to take advantage of the reduced pit stop time loss. But Ferrari made a bold strategic gamble. They kept both Charles Leclerc and Lewis Hamilton out on track. The idea was simple: run longer, pit later, and attack the Mercedes cars with fresher tires. In theory, it was a smart move. In reality, it backfired spectacularly because the Mercedes simply didn't suffer the tire degradation Ferrari expected. Look at the lap time delta. Even with fresher rubber, Leclerc was only gaining around 1/10 per lap on Russell. At that rate, closing a 15-second gap would require nearly an entire race distance. That tells us something very important about the Mercedes chassis. The car appears to generate extremely stable rear-end traction, reducing tire slip and preventing overheating. Combined with efficient ERS deployment, it allowed the drivers to maintain strong lap times while preserving the tires. The result? George Russell won by 2.9 seconds, with Andrea Kimi Antonelli completing a Mercedes 1-2 finish in the season opener, something the team hadn't achieved since 2019. That result sent a shockwave through the paddock because it confirmed what many teams feared during winter testing: Mercedes may have unlocked a major advantage under the 2026 regulations. And the political implications are enormous. If the suspected compression ratio loophole is real, the FIA has already indicated it will be closed, but not until June. That means Mercedes could potentially dominate the first 6 or 7 races of the season before the regulation clampdown arrives. And in Formula One, an early championship lead can be impossible to recover. As Hamilton himself warned, if Mercedes scores heavily in those opening races, the title fight could effectively be decided before mid-season. But there's another layer to this story that makes the situation even more complicated. Drivers across the grid are already complaining about the way the new 2026 cars behave. Max Verstappen was brutally honest after the race, saying he wasn't enjoying driving these cars at all. The reason comes down to something called superclipping. In order to maximize lap time, drivers must intentionally slow down through fast corners so the engine can harvest electrical energy and recharge the battery. In extreme cases, the car can temporarily operate with only 150 kilowatts of power instead of the full 750 kilowatts. That means drivers are no longer pushing flat out through high-speed corners. Instead, they're managing energy flow like endurance racers. Now, think about the bigger picture. If Mercedes has already perfected this energy management system while other teams are still struggling with it, then the Australian Grand Prix may have just revealed the first real power shift of the new F1 era, and it happened before most fans even realized what they were watching. So here's the question that could define the entire 2026 season: did Mercedes simply build the best car? Or have they discovered a technical interpretation of the new hybrid rules that nobody else fully understands yet? Because if the compression ratio loophole really is giving them extra energy recovery and battery deployment, then every race before June could become a massive points grab for George Russell. And if that happens, the championship fight might already be slipping away from rivals like Charles Leclerc and Max Verstappen. But what do you think? Was this victory pure performance, or the first sign of a hidden technical advantage? Write your opinion in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe for more explosive Formula One analysis from this channel.